Surfin USA is one of my absolute favourite Beach Boys songs from 1963. It's got a real upbeat, fun momentum to it, sprinkled with rock and roll, some excellent rhythms in the chorus and the iconic intro riff. I'm playing this on acoustic guitar today. We'll be taking a look at the awesome intro riff, the rock and roll verse riff, the bouncy rhythm of the chorus and the repeated ending. The original recording's in E flat. Today, for the purpose of this lesson, I've transposed this into D, which makes it more accessible for a wider range of abilities and also for different scenarios where you might want to mix and match ways of playing this. It gives us options that if you can't play bar chords, you can play open chord variations. If you can't play the rock and roll riff fretted, you can do the open chord variation. What we'll do at the end is add the capo to fret number 1 and that'll slide us back into E flat, starting with the intro riff. One thing to note is that this riff lies within the shape of a D chord. So that shape there is the 4 highest strings of the D bar chord. We are playing a riff within a D chord. So slowed down. Breaking that down, put your fingers to start off with in that D chord shape. So we have the ring finger on the 12th fret of the D chord, we have the middle finger on the 11th fret of the G, and we have the index finger barring the 10th fret of the B and the E. This intro is all down picks and down strums. So our first play is on the D and the G together. Then we move down to the G and the B together. We bring our ring finger on our fretting hand down to the G string 12th fret and play the G and B again. So we essentially have a 3-beat lead in. We then move to the high 3 strings and play the G, B and E. Play the G and B twice. Bring the ring finger to the 12th fret of the G and play the 3 strings again. Take the ring finger off, play the G and B, ring finger back up to D and play the middle 2 strings, the D and G. Play the G, B and E strings and then bring the ring finger back down, play the 12th fret of the G, play 2 strings and then take that ring finger off and play 3 strings again. Slow down. As you can hear, there are accents on some of the beats, and the first 3 beats are a lead in. So they actually come in on beats 3 and 4 and. We then have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Speeding that up a little bit. The accents drive the riff forwards. The first 3 beats are a little bit lower in volume. Take your time building that up. Ultimately, that riff needs to have a real light touch. That takes time to build up so it feels light. It can feel quite clunky in the beginning. It also feels a little bit muscle burny to hold your hand in that position for prolonged periods of time, which ultimately you are doing when you're practicing something. So build it up nice and slowly, have breaks, come back to it. Moving on to the verse now. This is a combination of the rock and roll riff on A, D and G, as well as some stops and some mutes in between to help the momentum along. The rock and roll riff Because we're playing in the open position, we have a variety of where we can play these. There's an easier version using the open strings and a fretted version with a bit bigger stretch. So the open position for the A, which is where we start, picks the D and the A strings, our strings 5 and 4. We'll be placing our index finger onto the 2nd fret of the D, and we will down pick and then up pick the D and the A string. We'll then bring our ring finger onto the 4th fret of the D string and play down on those same 2 strings, then take the ring finger off, play the up on the same 2 strings. So we've got 1 and 2 and. To make that into a 4-beat rhythm, we repeat it. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And that pattern, that movement, is essentially what we do for the next 2 positions, but using different strings. If you want to play them all down picks, you can do that also. Moving on to the D, we drop these fingers down a string to the G string. We drop our pick down to the D and the G strings and play the same pattern. For the G position in the open position, we drop down again, but this time we have to move our fingers up to the 3rd fret of the B and the 5th fret of the B. Putting that into the sequence of chords, we have 1 bar of riff and 1 bar of mutes for the most part. Here we go. 2, 3, 4, A. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, D. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, A. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, D. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, G. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. A. Stop on G. 2, 3, and then D. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's the entire verse slowed down. Looking at our fretted positions now, we use our index finger 5th fret E, middle finger 7th fret A, and then the pinky comes on to play the on-off bit on the 9th fret. So the A sounds like this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. As you can hear, it's exactly the same as the open position, but has a slightly different tone to it. To play the D, we drop down a string with everything. So we play the A and the D strings. And to play the G, we move down 2 frets and up a string to 3rd fret E, 5th fret A, and pinky 7th fret. A little run through of that so you can hear what that sounds like. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Now your choices may be based on the ease. You might like a bit of a challenge. You might like the tone of the fretted variation. When I play this song, I actually use a combination of both. Because of the resonance on the acoustic guitar, I like to use the A in the open position, the D in the open position, but when I play the G, I like the root note on the E string, so it's a little bit lower. So I do mix those up a little bit. A play through of the verse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. If everybody had an ocean, everybody be surfing. See you wearing the baggies, pushy blonde hairdo. You catch him surfing at. Looking at the chorus now, we have this awesome bouncy rhythm. I'll be playing bar chords because I like the percussive element they bring in this context, but I'll show you the open variations too. So A, bar chord, D7, bar chord, and G. For the open variations, we have the A, the D7, and the G. All versions are possible within this song. There are a few guitar tracks laid down in the recording of this song, so what I've done here is take the predominant rhythmic sound that will give us variation from the verse riff and give us some build in the chorus. 1, 2, 3, 4. The main rhythm here is a combo of strums with mutes and pressed down strums. So using the A bar chord, we have our fingers resting on the strings for beat 1, muting them. So we have 1, then we press the fingers down for 2 and, down up, take the fingers off or rest them for 3 and then press them down for 4. Each chord plays 2 bars of this rhythm in the same sequence that we played for the verse riff. So we begin with A, 3, 4. D, 7. A. D7. G, D7. Now we have 1 bar of A and 1 stab on G, beat 1, with a little bit of lyrical content. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You catch him surfing at Del Mar. Santa Cruz and Trestle. We have a riff that plays at the end of that to take us nicely back into verse 2. On the D, so this is the open D variation, open D string, 2nd fret, G, down, up, ring finger plays 4th fret, down, ring finger comes off, pinky onto 5, down, up, back to ring finger, and then back to the index finger. Fretted variation plays the D shape, but pinky moves to fret 10 for the down up, then back to 9, and then off. We repeat the verse and the chorus exactly as we've just played them for verse 2 and chorus 2. When we get to the end of chorus 2, we have an instrumental section and a guitar solo. What we do here is play the chord sequence again. So take the strumming pattern, whether you're doing open chords or barre chords, it's the same sequence. So we have A, D7, A, D7, G, D7, A, and G. When we get to that last A chord, the final vocal sequence comes in. Everybody's gone surfing. So that's A to G stop, and then we can either do the second rock and roll riff and the D7 chord, which is my preference to just keep that going. Or you can substitute the rock and roll riff and just play the D7 chord. I'll show you two variations now, slow down. Everybody's gone surfing, Surfin USA. Everybody's gone surfing. And that repeats to fade. The other way to do that without the rock and roll riff, everybody's gone surfing. Everybody's gone surfing. They both work equally well, and you can mix those up. This is a very simple song structure: intro, riff, verse, chorus, instrumental, ending. Perfect. One final performance tip: the capo that we mentioned earlier. If you want to play in the same key as the recording, you will need to put your capo onto fret number 1. This means that everything we've learned today will slide up this way relative to the capo being the new end of the guitar. So your A riff, for example, will be here. Here's a playthrough of the intro riff, the verse and the chorus, so you can hear how that's put together. 1, 2, 3. If everybody had an ocean across the USA, California, watch your sandals too, pushy, pushy bun. You catch him surfing out down Santa Cruz and Drexel. All over Manhattan, everybody's gone surfing. We'll all be planning out a route. This lesson on Summertime Blues by Eddie Cochran will continue to feed your summertime rock and roll fix. I'll see you next time.